Perceptive readers, this is James Lynch with a very special reading of 1 Kings chapter 10 verses 1 through 13. This reading is taken from the Basic Bible English translation, and it will have a brief additional thought at the end of this reading. Let us begin. When the Queen of Sheba heard about the fame of Solomon and his relationship to the Lord, she came to test Solomon with hard questions, arriving at Jerusalem with a very great caravan with camels, carrying spices, large quantities of gold, and precious stones. She came to Solomon and talked with him about all that she had on her mind. Solomon answered all her questions. Nothing was too hard for the king to explain to her. When the queen of Sheba saw all the wisdom of Solomon and the palace he had built, the food on his table, the seating of his officials, the attending servants in their robes, his cupbearers, and the burnt offerings he made at the temple of the Lord, she was overwhelmed. She said to the king, "The report I heard in my own country about your achievements and your wisdom is true, but I did not believe these things until I came and saw with my own eyes. Indeed, not even half was told me. In wisdom and wealth, you have far exceeded the report I heard. How happy your people must be! How happy your officials who continually stand before you and hear your wisdom. Praise be to the Lord your God, who has delighted in you and placed you on the throne of Israel. Because of the Lord's eternal love for Israel, he has made you king to maintain justice and righteousness." And she gave the king 120 talents of gold, large quantities of spices, and precious stones. Never again were so many spices brought in as those the Queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. Hiram's ships brought gold from Ophir, and from there they brought great cargoes of emmer wood and precious stones. The king used the emmer wood to make supports for the temple of the Lord and for the royal palace, and to make harps and lyres for the musicians. So much emmer wood has never been imported or seen since that day. The king gave the Queen of Sheba all she desired and asked for, besides what he had given her out of his royal bounty. Then she left and returned with her retinue to her own country. My brief comments from the reading. During an age where it was normal to have political alliances even solidified by marriages, the Queen of Sheba did not have to actually feel that requirement to associate, to ask questions of King Solomon. Yes, she was able to visit him and talk with him and actually have all her deep questions, which she had many, answered. All without having to give up her vast empire. And yet she still showed her appreciation for the treatment of Solomon by what? By actually bestowing gifts upon him that it mentions no one ever received gifts of that level from the Queen of Sheba ever before and probably since, at least for that time frame. And yet she did that for Solomon. Also, she gave thanks and praise even to his God. In that translation we just read, it just says Lord. But King Solomon very much used the name of Jehovah, and he made that name known. So do you think the Queen of Sheba also, when she was giving thanks and praise for his wisdom and generosity even, that she used God's name herself? I think that's a strong possibility she certainly did. So, keep in mind, the author of the Bible is Jehovah God. What we just read, these are facts. They are true. And you know what? Everything else that it says the author of the Bible mentioned about a paradise earth, where one day we will live forever upon it, that will also come true as well.